Here we are in Fairview, New Jersey. What we have is a pre-existing non-conforming fire escape and a couple of issues. With the preparation for the load test, we have to verify that the fire escape is ready to pass the examination. Must be structurally sound, must be kept painted so we can proceed to a load test of 100 pounds per square foot. That's roughly 1,000 to 2,000 pounds here, to a couple thousand pounds on this staircase here, and 1,000 to 2,000 pounds down there. Confirm the ladder. But this fire escape has a few issues that needs to be resolved, and then we can proceed to the load test. And a lot of them, it's an all welded fire escape, so a lot of these welded connections are substandard, and we'll talk about that in a second as to what needs to be done. The fire escape, I think, is going to be 25 years or younger, kind of handmade here on the spot, I think. And so I'm going to talk about what needs to be done here in order for us to proceed to the load test, or what you can do to it to avoid the load test. And everything's really pretty much about the welds. So a lot of these welds are substandard, connections into the building, railing. A lot of it's just weld. So I have to x-ray or load test all these welds, and I have to verify that there's no rust in any connection, and then I can proceed to the load test. Or I can put some bolts through some of these welded connections, and then I avoid this welded connection, and I also avoid the test, the load test. Grading is fairly new style grading, treads are new style grading, but as you can see, they welded from above, they welded from below, but look at all the water that's getting into all these. So all these welds are now suspect. They need to re-bolt every one of these welds that's suspect, and you need to seal this up here with silicone. So all the treads, 100%. This is just a little tack weld here. Not properly done. So as soon as you put an angle clip here, bolt, there's no need for test. This is welded. I'm not confident in the weld. You pop in some bolts, there's no load test. You gotta seal the joints though so that water doesn't get back in and rots. She's properly through bolted, as I can see here. So you can basically, I want to see whatever this welded connections. I don't like load testing, simply because leaving load testing a weld is just too problematic, too many liabilities. So rebolt all the platforms. So I think this is one of those candidates to avoid the load test, that you put some bolting in all this. Now, only major connections. See all these minor welds on these railings? You don't have to change, you don't have to bolt this. You just have to verify that these are good. Hammer test, twist test, whatever needs to be done. This railing usually needs a mid post that ties this to give it some stiffness. Rebolt all your treads. Okay? Water's getting in, the cracks and crevices, water's getting in and eating all your welds. So I want to bolt. You have to secure the grating. You have to secure this staircase to the platform, which it's not. So it looks like it's all made here, but see how the water's getting in here? And it's eating the welds from the inside out. So every one of these welds, you can back it up with a bolt, there is no load test. This is very skinny, and this is done wrong. This scratched me on the way up, so this can't be here. But this is supposed to be, on average, 18 inches wide minimum. It looks like it's about 12 to 14 inches wide only, but it's pre-existing non-conforming. But to get through this two-first part is difficult. See this cable? It's already used to be galvanized like this side, but see this side? It's already brown. So you either need to load test this cable or change the cable out, and you avoid that issue. You have to make sure there's no water getting into these weights, because if they get in there, they start rotting out from the inside out, and this thing doesn't lift anymore. So primarily all welded issues that we have here. She does need a spot paint job, to make it pass. She's not fully rusted, but she does need a spot paint job at least in all the work. And she needs bolts. Anywhere that there's a weld that could be a question, you pop in a bolt, you avoid the load test. Otherwise, you can reinforce exactly what needs to be done here and proceed to a load test. But I think you'll find that the cost of load testing versus the cost of refurbishing there, one is going to offset the other. Any questions? Fire escape engineers, inspect the summary video, 866-649-0333. This is Cisco. And the main concern about this fire escape is that it's an all welded fire escape, but a lot of the welds are showing evidence of rust from the inside out. That's what's forcing this one not to pass. Any questions, fire escape engineers? 866-649-0333.